Hey there, Jive Turkeys! Welcome to Enthusiastic Encouragement and Dubious Advice, the podcast for folks who would rather curl into the fetal position than lean in. I'm your host, Patricia LZ Tuttle.
And everybody scream! I'm Nicole LZ Tuttle. We're recording the show on November 8th, 2025.
Reminder that this podcast is independently run and we are hoping to be supported by listeners. Downloading, sharing, and giving us reviews and ratings are free ways to show us support.
And if you have a few bucks to donate, our Patreon memberships start at $3 a month. There are 3 tiers to choose from. And it's that time of year for us to also remind you that you can gift a Patreon subscription to someone else. We make an excellent gift.
Speaking of gifts for you or yourself or other people, you or yourself, I love it. I want to tell you about our bookshop affiliate site. There is a link on our homepage, eatapod.com. There's always a link in our show notes, and that is where we put all the books that we mention on this show, including, when we do our end of year best books we read in the year, those books, any books we recommend. They are all on this affiliate website and you can shop there and we get a little bit of money, and you're also supporting independent bookstores when you shop at bookshop.org.
If you need further things to gift, we also have a merch shop. You can find a link to our merch shop on our webpage at eatapod.com.
Also, don't forget, we always welcome emails about the self-help books you love or hate, and our email address is eatapod@gmail.com. One of the things when we were talking about going through a loved one's things during our last episode, I realized there was a resource I should have shared that I completely spaced out about, so I want to put that up front. I think the website is Sea King Solutions, and the woman is Courtney King. She is a woman here in Oakland, California, and she is a death doula. She helps people do Swedish death cleaning. She helps people go through the things of loved ones or also go through your own things. And she has a newsletter, and I have subscribed to her newsletter for years. It's very helpful. She also talks about, things to get in order for, end of life paperwork, and also just like passwords and house keys and things like that. And there's also a section of her newsletter, which is actually how I came to learn about her through a friend, a section of her newsletter called Anti-Prepper. It is a weekly kind of list of something to get together for your emergency pack, emergency bin or bag, especially around natural disasters. And she talks more about like achievable things that also involve other people. And it's less like, I think, as she says, like less bullets and beans and bunkers and more like realistic and not problematic prepping for the rest of us.
Like a spare pair of underwear?
At least a spare pair of underwear.
I feel like that's something not a lot of people remember to put in their emergency kits. And you will find very useful on like day 3.
I'm like, oh, do we have spare underwear in our kits?
Probably not.
Okay. Well, we'll have to do that. The other thing I wanted to mention, because we try to be really responsible on this show, is we have mentioned Buy Nothing groups on Facebook a lot. I use ours for our neighborhood, and again, it's a usually neighborhood Facebook group where everyone in your neighborhood's in there, or at least everyone who wants to be. And I had, some extra stickers, and I was like, hey, who wants stickers? We had some extra pasta sauce one time that wasn't expired, and someone else, but we weren't going to eat it, and someone else was like, yeah, I'll take that pasta sauce. So the original guys who created Buy Nothing actually went private and for profit. And it's like the Buy Nothing Project. And so the Facebook groups aren't associated with them, but, a lot of neighborhoods kept them going because of the spirit of the thing. Apparently, these guys are now going around and giving cease and desist to these neighborhood run Facebook groups for using the name. They're getting groups shut down. Like one person I know, her group in San Francisco that had like over 1,500 people got shut down because of these guys. And I think it's absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting at a time when neighbors are in need of groceries and neighbors are trying to share groceries to shut down these Facebook groups over a trademark. I think it's low-key evil. And so my neighborhood group has basically changed their name so we don't get shut down. But that being said, I don't know if you can really search for your Buy Nothing group on Facebook anymore. It might be a neighborhood exchange group or something like that if you're not already a part of it. And also, F the Buy Nothing guys, apparently. I feel like we've mentioned it enough on this show that I need to share it here. So, today I want to talk about something that neither of us has fully learned. But yeah, I've been working on this for years. And with the holidays coming up, I think it's a good time for us to talk about it and put it up there. I have, and maybe you, our listeners, have it too, this false hierarchy that I cling to, in which doing something myself or doing something the hard way is at the very top. And having help with doing the thing or doing something the easy way is at the very bottom. We talked at length about needing help and accepting help in one of our early episodes titled Everyone Deserves Help Except for Me, which we'll link in the show notes. But today I really want to talk about the idea of one way being better than the other way.
I talked about this some in that episode, Everyone Deserves Help Except for Me, but I think this idea goes back to this myth of rugged individualism in US culture. And I think this kind of exists to some extent in most capitalistic cultures, but because of the extreme consumerism in the US, we're pushed to be even more individualistic. This individualism is necessary for the ever-expanding drive for profit and growth under capitalism. For example, a neighborhood may only need one lawnmower if everyone works together in sharing it, but capitalism requires that every household needs its own lawnmower. Otherwise, how else is Big Lawnmower going to make a profit? This in turn creates a mindset that things done on our own are inherently better. I'm really starting to think that that can't be further from the truth.
Yeah, down with Big Lawnmower. We don't even have a lawn, everyone. Yes, it's okay to be proud of yourself for doing something yourself, doing something difficult. And I want to share a different example. For instance, I would be very proud of myself if I made a pie crust from scratch.
I would also be really impressed.
I'm very intimidated by pies. I don't know why. Every year I'm like, I'm going to make a pie this year, and I don't make a pie. But one of these days, I'm going to be brave enough. Anyway, the issue is in thinking that it is somehow morally better than using store-bought. Maybe it tastes better, or maybe not, but it is not morally better because you do something from scratch. We just saw a video the other day of Mary Berry, who was one of the original people on the Great British Bake Off. And she admits that she buys store-bought puff pastry. I know, gasp, escandalo. And she was like, you know what? She's like, I'm not making that all the time. And at this point, she says store-bought is better. They do it better than she does. And she readily admitted that. And I think of Ina Garten saying, if you can't make it yourself, store-bought is fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is also a conversation that goes around and around with garlic. Fresh garlic versus jarred minced garlic, or as my friend Kat calls it, jarlic. I prefer the taste of fresh garlic, and I don't mind doing I do mind doing the garlic paperwork. Nicole's looking at me.
Yeah, I do a lot of the garlic paperwork
You do
for
a
you.
lot of the garlic paperwork. I hate it, but I don't think I am somehow morally better for doing that than using jarred minced garlic, which I grew up on a mix. Like sometimes my grandpa would use fresh garlic, and sometimes we would use garlic for a jar, especially for like a big recipe.
Yeah, we're not gonna peel and mince like 20 heads of garlic.
That sounds like a lot. And I think what people aren't like, they're so close to getting, but they rarely do, is the inherent ableism and classism in especially these food opinions, that like, oh, these fresh things are better than these jarred things. And there's so many problems with thinking that these things are morally better. And yeah, you may prefer the taste of one over the other. Like, we're not saying that. We're saying like you are not morally better for doing things from scratch.
This is also seen a lot as we're coming up to the holidays. So many people convince themselves that on a holiday like American Thanksgiving, it's only good if they have all of the traditional foods and people spend multiple days cooking. Like the holiday is only good if someone's running themselves into the ground, and that someone or someone's just happens to be women most of the time. It's as though the suffering makes it taste better.
The resentment.
Yes.
Wow, is this fresh resentment in this pumpkin pie? Just like Mom used to make.
Oh, I blew us out.
Yep.
I blew us out, I guess. With that fresh resentment.
I got you on that one, yeah.
Yeah, you did. For the record, though, F Thanksgiving. Yeah, we're just,
for real.
Oh my gosh.
I know that you and I have been rethinking holiday gifts this year and not making our usual, 1,600 marshmallows from scratch. And I am having such a hard time not beating myself up for not making these elaborate candies and trying to convince myself that different gifts can also be good.
Yeah.
The other day, I didn't tell you this, my therapist was like, so hey, I looked up what it takes to make marshmallows from scratch. And then she gave me like a look. And she's like, yeah, I'm glad you're not doing this yet again this year.
Yeah.
Not that we aren't making marshmallows at all.
But just not
60 hours and 1,600 marshmallows.
over the course of like 2 months.
Yeah.
I'm not going to look like a fiddler crab by the end of it. I think a really good example of like what we're getting at here was when I was looking for a therapist a handful of years ago. I was set on doing this myself. I made a spreadsheet. I was looking people up. I was trying to get everything together. And I would schedule the first couple of appointments with someone. And like, I'm pretty sure one of them was drunk, like extremely unprofessional and just unknowledgeable. It was surprising because they came so well recommended. But like, I went through a couple of people, and this whole time you were like, would you like some assistance with this? And I was very much like, no, I can do it myself. As though there was something more noble in finding a therapist myself. In the end, I was finally like, yes, please help me. And the extent of your help was just like asking your therapist
for referrals.
Like, it was not a big lift at all.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you also seem to have a sense of like, I should be able to do this myself.
Oh, definitely. Like I, with a psychology degree, was like, I should be able to find a therapist.
And not saying that you couldn't, right? I think a lot of individuals do, and a lot of individuals can, but I think
it would have expended a lot more effort and misery
Yeah, and you were also like so dead sense that finding yourself was somehow better.
Yes. Looking back, this is wild. Because what I was in fact doing was not wanting to accept help in finding someone to help me. I had this kind of epiphany as we were like putting this together last night, and it was just like, oh, wow, not wanting to find help in finding someone whose job it is to help me.
Huh.
When you phrase it like that,
It's real silly. Like, it's real silly.
But really, like I felt like I had to do it on my own, and it would be a better, I don't know, better what? I don't know. It would just be better.
And in the end, my therapist at the time gave you a list of people like, hey, here are some people that I think Nicole will find a good fit. And I handed the list to you, right?
I looked them up and like one of them was great. She's great.
Yep. And you still have her.
Yep.
Yep. I think about this idea of something being morally better or not a lot with job hunting as well, especially or specifically for BIPOC and queer people. As someone who went to undergrad with a plethora of mediocre wealthy people, I will remind you that they have no qualms about reaching out to someone they know at a company for a referral, whether or not there is an actual referral program that they know of. I really want to stress this here. I'm putting my mentor hat on. There is more than one way to refer someone. There doesn't have to be an actual referral program. Don't assume there isn't. Don't assume there isn't because of where they work. Like, oh, that's not how universities work, or oh, that's not how retail works, or that's not how, blah, 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 blah. I promise you, if you know someone there, they could probably figure out a way to slip your name in there.
Absolutely.
And I think about like LinkedIn had almost $18 billion in revenue in fiscal year 2025. LinkedIn is a site that was built on the idea of networking and connecting to people at companies you want to be at or collaborate with or whatever. So again, for BIPOC and queer people, you aren't less than for leveraging connections in your job search. And I think about that a lot, especially like a job I had in the past was like someone I knew, and thinking about like, oh, I didn't deserve it because someone I knew was there. But yeah, it's a thing that we can beat ourselves up over.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think what we're trying to say here is just because something is difficult doesn't make it inherently better, or just because someone does something the hard way doesn't mean they're a better person. Homemade Doritos are not going to be good as store-bought. I'm just laying that flat out there. One, good luck trying to nail down that Cool Ranch flavor. But two, no matter how many hours you spend in the kitchen trying to make a Dorito, everyone's going to be real disappointed when you don't bring that blue bag to the party if you said you were bringing Doritos.
I was just thinking, if I had a Cool Ranch spice mix, I'd be unstoppable. I'd make Cool Ranch eggs.
Oh no.
I'd make Cool Ranch everything.
Is this our secret holiday gift we're going to try to put together?
We're going to try to figure out a Cool Ranch spice mix.
Then do we like try to grow the spices for next year?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
I feel that would be too much. How do you even grow a ranch? Anyway, I know this saying existed long before I heard it, but in DuckTales,
Woo!
Scrooge McDuck taught me to work smarter, not harder. And I really try to hold on to that. I'm like, what is the easiest way to do this thing?
Well, if you learn from Launchpad McQuack, it's to run around on one wheel.
Yeah, RoboDuck.
That's right.
RoboDuck.
I got my characters mixed up again.
No, but didn't he turn into Roboduck?
Oh, was that his
I
secret
think that was
identity?
his. I don't remember now. Now we have to watch some DuckTales.
If there's a DuckTales, like, nerd out there, please don't, like, angrily
Actually,
write us in.
You know what? If there's a DuckTales connoisseur out there, yes, write to us.
No, write to us. Just don't be angry about it, please. I'm delicate. Okay, so work smarter, not harder. Unless it's using AI for art.
Yeah, using generative AI for quote unquote art, that is an example of where the harder way is the better way. And I stand by that.
I stand on that too. And we're not going to say anything more about that right now.
Line drawn. Line drawn ourselves with my hand and a pencil.
Okay, Patricia, we yapped a bit. What do you want to make sure people take away from this episode?
I want people to take away that having help doing something doesn't make it less of an achievement. Nicole, how about you?
Yeah, I'm just going to stand on that with you. Doing something on your own doesn't make that thing better if you got help or had someone else do it. We can give one more example of this. I know we're trying to wrap up, but this gets real obvious when it comes to things like plumbing if you're not a plumber.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you could work a thing out and it's okay to call in the professionals.
Yeah.
In fact, with some things, please call in the professionals.
Yeah. Ooh, what's been filling your cup lately?
So it is the time of year where we start working on our holiday cards. We actually already designed our cards, ordered our cards. The cards arrived on Halloween. I usually do that bit in October. And now I've been kind of gathering the supplies for what I want the envelopes to look like. Usually it's very sticker heavy, and I've run through most of our holiday stickers, which like a lot of snowflakes and stuff like that. So I think this year I'm leaning into the rubber stamps, which then we could use on other mail and in future years. So I'm waiting for a few more stamps to arrive, including some very special stamps that we'll be sure to share online once those arrive. I'm very excited. And I don't know, I love holiday cards. It's also the time of year where we reach out to people to confirm addresses, and it always ends up in a little kind of text catch up yearly, like, hey, how are you? Have you moved? Has your name changed? Are the people in your household different? And that's always it's like a built-in annual check-in, and I really like that. Nicole, what's filling your cup?
This past week, on Halloween, the new Florence and the Machine album dropped, titled Everybody Scream. I've been listening to it a lot. I got my vinyl record copy in the mail, so I'm very excited to be listening to that on big speakers and not headphones. And I feel like that's going to be the album that gets me through this winter.
Yeah, and also the one you got has gorgeous photography.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh, so good.
Yeah.
Well, that's our show for today. We'd like to thank our awesome audio editor, Jen Zink. You can find her at loopdeloo.com. We'll leave a link to that in our show notes.
You can find the full show notes and transcript at eedapod.com. That's EEDAPOD.com. There, you can also find a link to our Patreon, our bookshop link, and a link to the ongoing Enthusiastic Encouragement and Dubious Advice newsletter.
You can also find us on Instagram and Blue Sky at EEDAPod and email us at eedapod@gmail.com. That was your line.
But we are nothing if not consistent. We would also appreciate it so much if you would subscribe and rate us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever else you get your podcasts that allow for ratings. It goes really far in helping other people find us. And if you would like to leave us a comment, you can do so at any places I just named or email us.
We would also appreciate anyone who can subscribe to us on Patreon. Support is going to help us keep the show going, especially without ads. You can find us at patreon.com/EEDAPod. In the meantime, we hope you find ways to be kind to yourself. Drink some water and read a book. We'll be talking to you soon.
Oh, I didn't write anything down.